Guys, welcome. So tonight I'm actually going to make two different meals. I'm going to make salmon for tonight's dinner, and then I'm going to meal prep some chicken cacciatore. So I'm going to go ahead and walk you through that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to saute my vegetables that I'm going to have with my salmon. So tonight I decided to do butternut squash and Brussel sprouts. So I'm going to go ahead and drizzle some olive oil right on there, and this is actually garlic infused. I love this stuff, it's great. And then I'm going to add a little bit of onion salt, some pepper, and then some herbs de Provence. Go ahead and sprinkle that right on there. So I'm going to go ahead and just toss it. And then we're going to bake it at 425 for about 20 minutes. Alright. Go ahead and stick that on in there. So I don't forget about it, since I am doing multiple things at one time. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start sauteing the vegetables for the chicken cacciatore. At least the onion. I like to have it nice and soft before I cook the chicken. So I'm going to cook it in some normal extra virgin olive oil. You want to go ahead and drizzle the whole pan, be nice and generous, so nothing sticks. And then we're going to go ahead and add our onions. This is half an onion, chopped. And 1 carrot sliced. You want to add the squash and the bell peppers last because those tend to cook really fast. So you're going to go ahead and add that heat, and while that is cooking, I'm going to warm my iron skillet. Because this takes a while to heat up, but once it's hot, it's really hot and it stays hot. So I'm going to go ahead and start warming that up. This is once again the garlic infused olive oil, and this is what I'm going to cook the salmon in. So as you can see, these are finally starting to caramelize a little bit. You want to cook these for about 5 minutes or so until it gets soft, and then we're going to go ahead and add our chicken. So I've been marinating these salmon in just that same olive oil, the garlic infused. And I'm going to add a little bit of lemon juice. Before I add it to the skillet. I usually just do half a lemon. I like to marinate it in a Ziploc baggie just because it tends to get a nice even marinade. So if you want to check the heat on your pan, you can just stick your hand right above, and it does, you can kind of feel it radiating a little bit, so you know it's starting to warm up. So I can lower my heat just a little bit, and I'm going to add my salmon. Whatever juices are left, you can go ahead and just drizzle those right on top. So now that these are starting to caramelize a little bit more, I'm going to add my chicken. And when I do that, what I tend to do with these vegetables that I already have in the pan, I don't want to remove them because I want them to still cook a little bit longer. So I just move them to the outer edges of the pan. And then I add my chicken in the middle. This is all organic chicken breast, just sliced. And then this is the seasoning I made with onion salt, garlic powder, cayenne pepper, normal pepper, and paprika. So it looks like it's starting to stick a little bit to the pan, so I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil, just so nothing sticks. And I'll go ahead and give it a nice stir. So we're going to cook this about 7 minutes or so. And since we have about 20 minutes until all the food's done, I'm going to start the rice. So in the back pan, I'm going to add some olive oil and warm it up. I'm going to cover the salmon. So once again, you want to feel to make sure that it's starting to warm up. It's not quite there yet. The reason I like to pre-cut my chicken breast is you tend to have one side of the breast that's really fat, and then you have another side that's really skinny. And when you try to cook the whole breast at one time, you tend to dry the chicken out because it doesn't cook proportionally. So that's why I prefer to cut my chicken breast before I cook it. But you can do it the other way. It's just easier and faster to cook. So while that warms up, I'm going to add the rice and we're going to brown it. This is just half a cup of brown rice. And I did rinse it. Get a fresh spoon here. Go ahead and brown that rice. So I'm going to add 1 cup of chicken broth to the rice. And then I'm just going to cover it and cook it for the remainder of the time. Reduce that heat for the rice. Go ahead and give this baby a stir again. And now we're going to go ahead and flip over our salmon. that is coming apart. All right. And then I'm going to take another lemon and I'm going to char it, which means I'm just going to put it inside the pan as a garnish. I'm going to drizzle a little more olive oil so nothing sticks. And then I'm going to cover it and cook it on medium. So we're going to go ahead and stir this again. So this chicken is almost done. You can still see a little bit of pink in the meat. If there's any pink in the meat, then it's not done. You got to really wait until it is all white. And if you're really unsure, then cut it in half to double check. Nobody wants food poisoning. So now that this is almost done cooking, I'm going to go ahead and add my bell peppers. I have one green bell pepper. And I have one red bell pepper. And the reason I did so few carrots is because on the 30-day healthy living program, we actually consider carrots to be a carb because it is higher in sugar. So I didn't want to add too much of it or you're going to lose out on having any of the carbs like rice or pasta. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some sauce. I love this Raos homemade all natural marinara. This has no sugar in it. It's all that's inside of it. Let's see here is peeled tomatoes, olive oil, onion, salt, garlic, basil, pepper, and oregano. So really simple stuff. You're going to go ahead and cover your whole dish with marinara. Give it another stir here. I'm going to add a little bit more earthseed Provence. Just sprinkle on the top. And now I'm going to add my zucchini, which is about 2/3 cup, and about 2/3 cup of squash. These are actually from my garden. So I went and picked them right before this meal, which I think is pretty awesome. So you're just going to cook this on low for the remainder of the 10 minutes. While the rest of the food cooks, because this is a real fast, easy dish. I am going to cook a little bit of brown rice pasta to go with it. Actually, I filled that up with water, so I'm just going to bring it to a boil. Bring that heat down. And this sounds like it's cooking pretty fast, so I'm actually going to flip it one more time. And try and get a little bit more color on the other side. And a great tip is you can always freeze your leftover salmon and use it inside of casseroles or substitute as like a canned tuna or canned salmon. So that's always great too. So now you're just going to cook everything on low while you wait for the rice, vegetables, and pasta because the salmon's pretty much done and the chicken's pretty much done. So about 10 minutes to the end, you're going to add the onion on top. And let it boil in with the rice. And yeah, so now we just have to wait, and I'll touch base with you guys in a little bit, and we'll work on meal prepping and just proportion-wise what we should be eating. All right, thanks so much, and see you soon.